Good afternoon, Trojan family, and welcome to USC Reunion 2020, and thank you for joining our USC Viterbi School of Engineering panel today. We know that you could be staring at CNN right now, so we are so glad that you are here instead and that we can share this historic reunion program together. I hope you enjoyed today's panel featuring three outstanding engineering alumni that have taken uniquely different paths upon graduation. I'll just do a quick introduction and leave it to each of you to speak further on what you're currently doing. I have a few questions I'd like to ask about how engineering provided the foundation for your current careers, but it's most important to hear from the audience. Please enter your questions for our panelists at any time in the Q&A box. I'd first like to introduce Michael Flanigan, electrical engineering and computer science alum, currently residing in the Bay Area. Hey, Michael.
Hello, Trojans.
Hello. And next, I'd like to introduce Lyssa Aruda, BS in Chemical Engineering, MS in Engineering Management, and a minor in Art History, and currently in Los Angeles. We are so glad you're here with us today, Lyssa.
Hey everyone, excited to be here.
And next, I'd like to introduce Antonio Longoria, Mechanical Engineering, and currently joining us from Monterrey, Mexico. So Antonio, let's start with you. What are you working on right now?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Fight on. Right now, I'm the CEO, founder, and CTO of SkySet. SkySet is a platform that helps industrial companies measure their raw materials using drones. So we built a software that can process what these drones capture and helps them measure these inventory levels of raw materials. And we've been active for about 5 years, and we're currently selling to several public companies in Mexico and the US.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. And so prior to the pandemic, were you having to travel a lot for these excursions?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question correctly.
Oh, so prior to the pandemic, were you having to travel a lot for your businesses?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The pandemic, you know, it's horrible, right? But it's helped us in a way to optimize the way we sell, basically. Our customers are usually a lot more traditional, so they like to be, in meetings face to face. But what happened here is that, right now we're talking, and this is as close as I get to my coworkers too. So, being face to face got a lot easier.
You can say that again. So Lyssa, let's turn it over to you next. What's keeping you busy these days?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm currently a management consultant at Accenture. So going the business technology integration route. I'm part of our talent and organization practice. So my specialty within Accenture is on large transformational change, particularly in the digital space. So as new companies are implementing, either pivoting to the cloud and completely redoing their IT organizations to, implementing new technologies and transforming how their organizations work, how does that really affect the people and enabling them to succeed in the future? I've gotten to work with, a ton of really cool clients in my time at Accenture, mostly across, the technology space. I've been with, Google, Starbucks, Disney. It's been a really fun adventure.
That's amazing. So basically you've worked for all the top corporations in the world just in your very few years in the workforce. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Finally, let's turn it over to Michael. What is going on in the Bay Area?
There are a lot of things going on here in the Bay Area. For me personally, I'm an IP attorney working at Reichman Jorgensen. We actually co-founded this firm almost 2 years ago exactly to the date. And, we're busy with litigation. I thought things would slow down, but they have increased. We just had a big jury verdict trial in January in the District of Delaware. And we had to deal with post-trial briefing afterwards. So that lasted well into the summer, and now we're continuing to pursue other matters. So what I do is I actually sue big tech companies. So you talk about, yes, you talk about the big ones, Apple, Amazon, Google, who else? Microsoft. There's many companies out there. VMware is another big one. And, you try to protect the innovators and the people that have the inventions. So from small to mid-sized companies against the big tech companies. You try to help them as much as possible. And so it's been keeping us busy. So business is great and everything.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Thank you for protecting the innovators. I think
Yeah.
that's, there's so many innovators that come out of Viterbi, especially the Startup Garage here. Having that protection is really key. So
Absolutely.
Michael, why don't we start with you for our first question, because I think you took a very untraditional route from engineering to law. So how has your time at Viterbi prepared you for your career today?
It's prepared me a lot. So, I graduated with computer networking at Viterbi, and, we have stellar professors and great resources in Viterbi engineering. And so that prepares you make sure you're prepared with deep technical knowledge, making sure that, time management, you have the time management and organization as well. And also just the soft key skills as well. And so that really helps you to transition to talk to people, particularly like CEOs, technical officers, the engineers that really understand their materials and their product and try to understand what the issues are. And also the networking and the USC family support, that's really been huge while I was there, and even currently today. So I know I didn't take a traditional route of going from, well, actually, I did do engineering afterwards, but then I transitioned to law, which is a completely different industry. But I'm still using my technical skills every day, and still talking with a lot of engineers as well as lawyers, and have to explain it to judges and juries on how technology works. So it's interesting and fun.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. I'm sure you're the go-to guy when you have to be able to speak the same language as the people that you're serving. So it makes a lot of sense. Lyssa, I'm going to toss this over to you next.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think that there's a huge variety of things. I could probably answer this question in 20 minutes, but I'll try to keep it much shorter. Foundationally, classwork, like learning how to solve problems, all those soft skills around it, still applicable, even though I'm not necessarily using those technical skills every single day. This classes I took in my master's program, super relevant: team management, project management, quality control, supply chain, very useful every day. But I think when I think back on my time at USC and the skills that I pull on every day, it's from all of the, extra fun things that I did. So I was part of the Viterbi iPodia program, and then I actually TA'd that program my junior year. So that was how to work with international teams. And I've spent a lot of time working with international teams. On one project, I had a team in Poland, Malaysia, India, all around the world, got to travel and meet them all. So that was, an experience I had in school that really directly translated to what I did in the workplace. Technical writing, being able to explain data and showcase it and make your charts beautiful, very important skill I learned through research in my classes. And then I was also very involved in Viterbi Student Ambassadors and Freshman Academy coaching. And I think those really helped shape my soft skills and communication skills, and being able to apply that and then still work with technical folks and really be that bridge between the business and technology people has been also really critical to my career growth. So I think, that holistic Viterbi experience, plus, just having fun and like those extracurricular classes really, laid a good foundation for succeeding in the workplace.
That's amazing. And I forgot to add that Lyssa is part of our Emerging Leaders Board. So you're definitely a leader in so many more ways than one.
Thank you.
All right, Antonio, I'm going to throw it over to you next.
Sure. Definitely problem solving helps a lot. As a startup, you start with nothing. So, everything's a problem that you need to solve. So that definitely really helped. Everything about, critical thinking, technical skills, like, having to code the platform from zero took a lot. And definitely, my classes in numerical methods and, every physics class I took, I basically put into work here. Also, the people that I graduated with, set the bar really high. That really, made it feel that you have to go big. And that's, I think, the most valuable part, because the technical things you can learn, in a book or, take a course somewhere, but being with people who are highly ambitious and that will make you like strive to go as far as you can, I think that's the thing that helped me the most.
Yeah, and that seems to be the Viterbi way. You're always out competing each other and everyone is just so insanely talented. Can you imagine the students coming in now and like the bar that you guys set for them and how difficult and how challenging everything is now? We joke around, me and my peers, if we had to apply for college today, there's absolutely no way any of us would have gotten in. So I admire all of you for all the skills and for actually coming back today and really sharing all of that kind of experience with us. So the next question, anyone can jump into this one. Are you in the role that you envisioned you would be in when you were studying at USC?
Who's that for?
That is for
first, definitely a no. Definitely was not when I started at school. Consulting wasn't the career path that I had envisioned. I actually thought I was going to go a little bit more the research route, and I did participate in research all of my time at USC, and I loved it. I just did an internship in it and didn't see myself doing that, all day, every day for the rest of my life. So I started pursuing, other ways that I could solve problems and really contribute. And I ended up getting an internship at a consulting company at Accenture summer after my junior year. And I loved that, much more people focused approach to solving problems. So it was a really good fit for me, but definitely was not where I thought I was going when I started.
Yeah, I would have to agree. When I was studying, and I was thinking, oh, I'm going to work for JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratories, deal with space. I love it. Maybe, become an astronaut. And then I changed paths to go into medical devices and being a software embedded engineer. And then once I got there, I was at Boston Scientific, and it was very competitive and litigious. And so companies were our big main competitor, Medtronic and even St. Jude. They were always suing each other over patent litigation. And it was just like, wait a second, why can't I do this just because, some court or some patent is in our way? How do we get around that or something like that? And so that was my main direction of really going into becoming a trial attorney and working on IP. And so I still get to use the technical skills, but I still can also problem solve for clients and actually kind of step out of and see the big picture on how litigation really affects companies and how they drive products and things of that nature. So it's been different. It's completely different from studying at USC.
In my case, I wasn't really fully committed to a certain outcome. I always was interested in entrepreneurship. So in that case, I kind of did end up exactly where I wanted to be. It's not the way I imagined it, but it's it does fit. But yeah, I also saw myself working someplace like with really hardcore engineering, SpaceX or something like that. But I went straight out into entrepreneurship, and I'm loving it right now. But yes, it's sort of what I expected, curiously.
Okay, and I'm sure that brings some comfort to some people. 2 unexpected and 1 expected. So it's good. Not all is lost. You can still create a vision board and stick to it. Okay, so next question. How has your life changed in the past 6 months?
I can start with this one.
Sure, go ahead.
We actually, I'm glad that we finished trial in January before the pandemic happened. It was my first patent trial, and it was great to just work with the team members and go into court every day. And then, a month later or a month and a half later, we go into COVID and everybody's has to shut down and you remain home or work from home. And so all the courts closed, but you still have litigation that continues. And then if you need to contact the court, we just use the telephone or teleconference or Zoom in that case. But things have been busy. Cases are still continue to to push forward. Courts continue to operate. We just don't go into the courtrooms anymore, but things are still going. Things are still busy, and so it's been more uphill, more than kind of status quo, almost.
In my case, it's been weird. You know, at first we were in an office, and you know, you have to keep the culture. You have to keep a certain vibe. You know, as a startup, you interact with people. You're innovating in tandem, and the moment you separate everyone, it's kind of tough to replicate that. So the toughest thing to do was replicate that through extra communication. So that's, I think, has been the toughest thing that changed, to set a rhythm of communication so that we're all in sync. Otherwise, everyone's working on their own thing, and you know, it's like chickens without a leader, just going in random directions. So that was the toughest part. But other than that, you know, things have been moving. The start of the pandemic was a high uncertainty point. So a lot of our customers that were, well, potential customers, you know, backed out of a few deals. But fortunately, things have been moving right now. Then that there's a little bit more certainty in the future.
And for me, I mean, my job, I was already working like 40 or 50% at home, pretty flexible. So the work from home situation wasn't different, but I'd say the other, you know, 50, 60%, I was traveling to client sites. I travel a lot for my job. Wherever I need to be, wherever my clients are sitting is also where I go. And that's, you know, international, that's down the street, whatever is needed. So 2020, I'm actually not going to get on an airplane, which is very weird feeling as someone who's traveled like over 100,000 miles every year for the past couple of years. It has been a good thing because I've gotten to spend a lot more time with the dog that I got in January. Pre-pandemic, didn't know that was coming. Just got a dog. So now that's been really nice to stay at home and, you know, find a different type of balance. And, you know, as a company, I think we've adjusted really well. We're pretty digitally native. We have all the tools for it. And we always had, you know, co-located teams. So great skill to have picked up all those collaboration tools over the years, but definitely weird not, you know, physically being with clients and co-creating things together. And it's now on, you know, Mural or Whiteboard or whatever collaboration tools we can find online. So that's been different, but working for it.
I heard a lot of silent cheers when you said you got a dog. So now you have to tell us.
Yeah, she's just, you may see her in the background. She's very spoiled and sits in my bed all day. So
please interrupt the next time she's here so we can get a proper shot of her. Thank you guys. But from what I hear, it seems as though productivity has really increased despite all the restrictions that the pandemic has brought. So that's kudos to all of you. Next question. What is something you wish you would have prepared for more when you were a student?
Sure, I can take that one. What I regret the most is not going to more of the extracurricular, what do you call them, like groups. I think what I value the most of my time in Viterbi was just the time I spent with the rocket propulsion lab. That was incredible. Like looking back, I realized that was one of those moments that you're never gonna have a chance to do it again. We went to the desert and launched rockets and made them just as pure students. It was like the purest form of creation, and it showed you that you can make things and you can bring them to life. And it's not just about, you know, designing, and you need to work in a certain company that will let you have the tools to make things. So you can start from scratch and you can make these things. And I would have gone to more of these, like, or at least more of one, or gone to more of them.
Yeah, I have to second that. I was in the gaming lab with Mike Zaida, and we were building video games and playing video games, because I think World of Warcraft was the craze back then. So we're beta testing, but like Antonio said, it's just like going out there and really being able to immerse yourself in the environment, the network for us, for instance, and really just come working together on different issues. And I think even at that time, we were working on smartphones. Motorola was one of the smartphones before the iPhone came out, and trying to build video games for that platform. And now it's, you have the iStore, or and it's like everything's on the App Store, so you can get anything. And so that was huge back then. So I wish I probably would have done more of that, and also just continue networking with people. And I think that's probably like the biggest thing that I've learned today. 'Cause that's really where you get your network, your contacts, information that you need, working with other people for here as things change and times change.
Yeah. I definitely did too many extracurriculars, so don't have that one. But I think the two things that if I could go back and like do more of, I wish I had taken more advantage of more abroad opportunities. I did the iPodia program. I got to go to Korea and Israel. I now look back and like I should have done a summer abroad and like maybe a semester, and just taken full advantage of that. I mean, clearly the travel bug consulting works really well for that life choice. And the other thing I always look back on, and again, took advantage of it while I was there. I did a minor in art history. I took a film class. I took a yoga class. I really wish I had taken, even more breadth across the university and really, taken advantage of everything. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day, and engineering classes are a lot of units, but I wish I had found a way to fit in even more of those, fun life skill type classes that are, it's hard to fit that in your adult life as well. So those are two things that I would go do more of.
Yeah,
that sounds perfect. Yeah, as an adult, I do wish.
Yeah, I'm on like Coursera. It's really hard to find the time to take CS 101 online at night after work. So
yeah, for sure.
Traveling abroad too. I mean, I think that's huge, because
yeah,
just have that many chances just to go and visit other places. We're either working or doing something, but just to take the time to see it is huge.
Yeah, for sure. Michael, were you able to travel abroad during your time at USC?
I did it in law school. I took my last semester. I took a study abroad course where I went to Argentina and studied venture capitalism with wineries. So I was able to see Mendoza and Buenos Aires and Montevideo, Uruguay.
You win the abroad experience. I love Argentina and Uruguay, but that sounds awesome.
Yes, it was. And mine too.
That sounds like my dream career path, to be honest. Okay. All right. And so our last question, how does being an engineer at heart change your mindset about the world?
I can go first. This is my favorite question on the list. I was really excited to see this. And I think it's something that, we don't necessarily talk about enough, but even in my, very non-traditional engineering career path, engineers are my favorite people to work with, hands down. Sorry, anyone on this call who is not an engineer. But I think that just the mindset that you can go in and solve problems, and how engineers attack problems in their daily life, it's kind of grilled into you and like just drilled into you during your classes that every problem, even if it hasn't been solved yet, there is a solution out there. And if you just get the right people in the right room and the right combination, like we'll get there someday, and you take the right steps. And so I love working with engineers when we're trying to solve problems, because they have this mindset that like we'll find the solution as long as we keep at it. And so I think that's a really critical skill. And I think that that's like the most important thing that I take with me out of engineering is every problem has a solution if you get the right like information and the right group of people in the right room. And I mean, that's my job today. It just not necessarily apply to the same things, but I help solve the problems that our clients can't solve on their own. And it's things that they haven't done before and is totally new. So I think that has really, been the mindset that I take forward and has shaped my life.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that. Trying to solve problems. You're always looking at, what's the solution? How do we get there? And then also too, as being an attorney, it's like you listen to the client and try to understand what direction and what the results they're looking for. And so then it's like, okay, you put that into the problem solving matrix, and you're able to work at it and come up with a solution that's reasonable, honest, and beneficial for the client. And so that's been awesome. And something I always look into the world is just like, how can we continue to be a good steward of USC Viterbi as well, and continue just going at it and striving for the best as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with the problem solving part. Definitely, you're able to structure problems so much better when you see it as an engineer, and it gives you a handle on a good way to solve them. Yeah. I'd also like to add that the confidence in the ability to learn very complex things. It lets you say, I learned this, that's, I'm probably not going to use it, like differential equations or something, but you have the mental capacity to handle that kind of complexity, and you take it into different things. You come up, different problems that come at you. It gives you the confidence that you can solve them. So yeah, it helps a lot too.
I love that point. I think the other thing too is like applying things to different, contexts is another like big engineering skill. Like you learn something and then you can apply that in a lot of different ways. And like you learn math, and then your rest of your career is how do you apply this to different, problems and situations. So that contextual knowledge, I think, also stays with you.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was really beautifully said. You guys are engineers and poets at heart, I have to say.
Our writing classes we had to take.
Yes.
It paid off.
I know. Wow. Okay, I'm going to throw one last bonus question. Only because it's reunion and we want to celebrate, even if it's virtually. But if you were on campus, where would you be celebrating reunion today?
Is there any other place besides Viterbi?
Where I lived for 5 years.
Exactly.
With a nice salami sandwich.
That's wonderful. Thanks, guys. All right, so we are just about at the end of our time together. Thank you so much once again, Michael, Lyssa, and Antonio, for being with us today. And to all of our participants, thank you for tuning in during this historic reunion weekend. This panel was recorded and will be available next week on our Viterbi Online Events Series page. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Hope you enjoy the rest of reunion. Be well, stay safe, and as we say here at USC, fight on, everyone.
Fight on, guys.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, finally, first game day.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Thank you, everyone.